Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals. All right, y'all, we are back with another episode of This Week in Real Estate. Woo! Where we're putting the meow in homeowner.
That's what we wanted.
We got it. We got it. Yeah, welcome in, everybody.
I mean, it's one of the best movies.
To This
Super
Week in Real
Troopers.
Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on...
Trent, you all right back there?
Yep, sorry, I said some bad words. All right, we're ready now.
Huh?
Let's get it going.
I was. Did you mess it up?
No, I just
Okay.
played it looped the intro.
Oh.
One job. All right.
Homie owner.
Homie owner.
word.
Meow. Homie owner.
We put the meow.
Hey, do you know why I pulled you over, Meow?
What's that?
Have you seen Super Troopers, right?
Oh, is that the one where
Where,
we
like-
need a burger for a cop?
No, it's the one where they're in like Vermont and they're this highway patrol department up there that's just underperforming. But like they have this game where they pull a car over and they play the meow game. How many times can as a police officer, law enforcement officer, can you say meow to the person that you just pulled over? It's like, you know, I pulled you over, meow.
I'm sorry, you say meow.
How fast do you think you were going, meow? Like trying to say now, but meow. Now.
It's been much too long, and I was probably a little chemically altered at the time.
That's classic.
It's a great.
That is the one where they announced that we need a burger for a cop.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one?
Does
At
this
the
look like
fast food
spit?
place?
Yeah. Is this spit?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that Reno 911 or Super Troopers?
No, it was
No, it's
Super. I've never
definitely
watched
Super
Reno
Troopers.
911, so it has to be Super.
They were both great. They're way better than Chips.
Chips.
Oh,
I don't. Chips was great,
Chips
man.
is great, man, but it didn't have the comedic.
Oh well, no, of
Impact.
course not, because it was the real. It was the real deal.
Yeah, it's true.
man.
It was more of a drama.
It was a documentary. wasn't
Action. It was
It?
action.
Chips was a documentary, wasn't it?
Pretty sure
Probably. Eric Estrada. Just crushing it out there. Love it. Punch.
I have a punch. Anyway, all right, we're off the rails already. Let's do this. I do see that we have a little spiritual support
Yeah.
for this show.
it's baby Jesus.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, dear sweet baby Jesus.
Positive.
Yeah, I like that. All right, I could use it today. Yeah. Hey, our Blue Raiders pulled out
Got a win?
a victory last night.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
But they did it.
Yeah.
They did it.
Commanding 14-5.
14-5.
That's a
with
wild
the
score.
safety. The safety happened in the first
Drive.
like 30 seconds of the
Oh,
game.
really?
Yeah.
Was it one of those where like
Stopped him at the 2.
Yeah.
I don't understand. How did it? All right, doesn't matter. I can figure that out later.
Yeah. Just watch the replay.
Yeah.
It'll make you so
Yeah.
proud.
I wasn't at the game. I was
The ball at the 2. That's
I was
what-
pre occupied, not preoccupied. I was somewhere else.
You went and watched
Yeah,
Dogs.
Went to see the Sheepdogs, just a
Sheepdogs.
Canadian rock and roll band.
Oh,
And
you didn't tell me they were Canadian.
they're great,
Eh?
man. They play like they're from the '70s. They dress like they're from the '70s. Like
Where did you see them?
at the Basement East.
Oh, I love that
was
place.
cool.
It's a great venue, great band.
Is it all like completely put back together? And
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Been many shows there
Okay.
since the tornado and everything.
Gotcha. All right,
You want to get into some
let's do it.
headlines?
Let's talk some real estate.
Headlines.
And a lot of fires.
Headlines.
Are we on the headlines? Mm-hmm. Okay. There you go.
All right.
We had
Going?
several fires at Tailgate yesterday,
Okay.
so I'm like smoky.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. All right. You got a headline?
Yeah, so I think the big headline right now is just how interest rates have been moving, because there's been the news media always catches up to movement a couple weeks late. So right around the
Bless
time
their
that
hearts.
the headlines are all like record low rates, the headlines aren't in time with the real time data, and
Right.
so I think there's a lot of people right now who are updating their loan scenarios, expecting to see a number, and then they're surprised when they see where the market has gone. Because for a while you were hearing rates in the fives. It's there. It's like we're so close. And there for a bit, FHA, we were locking rates in the fives and stuff. And so, and I think you still can now with FHA, but
you can pay some points.
You can pay some points, and depending on credit, maybe a little more, a little bit less. But anyway, the story and what's kind of caught my eye is that the inflation numbers aren't really driving the market like they did when rates started going up. Inflation's on track to be higher than we had expected, but inflation is not really moving the data as much as jobs reports are. So it's kind of like, all right, if there's an important report to be watching now, it's going to be surrounding jobs more so.
Why is that?
Because that's I guess more of the leading indicator, whereas the inflation is backward looking.
But the jobs report was good.
The jobs report was a lot of people were working. The jobs report was that there's fewer jobless claims. That's the trend that has been happening, and so as those trends unfold, you start to think, oh man, if people are still working, the economy is still strong. If the economy is strong, whether inflation is there or not, if the economy is strong, there's not much incentive to reduce rates because you want to lower rates going into a weaker economy. If the economy is still strong, it doesn't matter really so much where inflation is, as long as it's not rampant and out of control like it was. They're going to keep rates a little bit higher as long as the economy is strong.
Well, and it's certainly stagnated home value growth.
It really has,
right? So we will likely end the year positive 2 to 3%. Right. Which is a historical normal.
Yeah.
But it feels like we've hit a freaking brick wall compared to the last 3-4 years.
Well, and with that 2 to 3% growth, does seller concessions for closing costs come into play?
That? So that's exactly right.
Does that really mean it's kind of almost more of a flat, neutral kind of
possibly
market?
even a backward slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the reason that it's hard to really know that is that the way that we report that stuff on the MLS, it is not it's not always accurate. It is not always well reported, and it is certainly not something within our MLS, at least, that it is very easy to extract the numbers and chart it, if that makes sense. And people, there's just not consistency with how that's reported in the MLS. So I don't know, I guess, is the answer. I can't prove that, right? But anecdotally, yes, that is certainly part of the equation.
I would think so, yeah.
So that's interesting. And I'll throw one other out there. One of the really interesting, and you're right about the information lag sometimes, which is just fascinating to me that information lags, but yet we can have something developing right now, and it's like to the minute. You know what I mean? Like, why does that lag anyway? But I digress. My wife is in an industry that sees not even the leading indicator; it's like the bleeding edge indicator with temporary staffing, and temporary staffing is the first to get cut. And just that industry right now is. It's bad, dude. It's tumbleweed.
I keep hearing that out of when I talk with her, and that gives me some.
And it's not just her company; it's all of them.
Yeah, and that gives me a concern for where things are going. But I wonder how much of that is election related. So is that really economic driven, or is that like just like a lot of us
fear and hesitation
heading into an election?
Could be.
And then on November 6th,
I'll tell you in about a month.
Normal. Yeah, less than that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. It's a good question, and this time of year is when a lot of industries would be ramping up.
Yeah.
And that's just not happening.
Yeah.
So it's almost like for the last several years now, everything that we thought and everything that we knew, quote unquote, that was like, this is how it works and this is how it moves. It's just been on its ear.
Yeah.
And my favorite is, and I fall into this trap sometimes with Cedar Glade, is when something doesn't go exactly like you expect it to, and you plan this event or you have this initiative to accomplish, and it doesn't go the way you want it to, then you sit back and you armchair quarterback yourself and be like, oh, well, it didn't happen because, and then you come up with like 20 different excuses as to why it didn't happen. And maybe those are legitimate, maybe they aren't, but we try to figure it out after the fact, and you can't.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's interesting. So, not inflation anymore.
It doesn't seem to be the huge barometer that it was. I think and unless something just comes out and it's completely running away and getting out of control again, I don't expect inflation to really be a market moving index that gets followed.
Huh. Okay. Well, I feel like the last 3 years have been a lie.
Right?
Or we fixed it. I don't know.
I think it's that's a good point. Maybe it's a little bit of we fixed it. The inflation had been, getting into the double digits range. And so now for it to be at like 3.6, 3.8 compared to where it was in the nines, if it seems like it's a lot more in control, even if it's not the 2% that's their goal, it's so much closer to it that
this is the soft landing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we're in.
And so and the other part of the soft landing is really jobs and in protecting the economy so that we continue to have a strong GDP, that we continue to have a strong workforce, and we continue to have we don't have those labor market shortages or labor market woes where people are out of work. That's the soft landing. And
so how do we curb inflation without killing?
And so I think that's where you had a lot of people thinking, hey, rates aren't going to go back to the 4s, or even certainly not the 3s. We'll probably settle in the 5s. Well, I think maybe it was a little bit of wishful thinking that we would get to the 5s real quick and then just stop. It's going to be a deceleration to get to those numbers.
Yeah. Okay. Fascinating. All right, Trent.
Yes.
Is it real? Oh, Lord.
It's not that bad. This one actually kind of makes me sad, but Missy called this the chef's bath or bedroom.
The chef's bedroom. I mean, it's a roommate situation too.
And this can be yours in New York City for only $4,500 a month.
Yeah, right.
What a deal.
Man.
I mean, that's a studio.
That's a 20 by 20. No, that's a 20 by 10 room or 15 by 10 room. That's 150 square feet right there.
I do wonder what that's listed for.
I'm surprised you don't have 2 toilets sitting there that you have to sit on to eat, dual purpose type deal,
So both of those beds have a headboard. I wonder, is there a third bed?
I don't know.
No, it's a headboard and a footboard. They sleep head to head.
You think that? Well, I always thought that, but that looks like a blanket on top of the blue bed.
Yeah, it's for the foot.
Yeah, so they've got the headboard up here, and then they've got a headboard.
If they were smart, they'd sleep head to head, and they could play volleyball over.
Yeah,
It'd be fun.
Okay,
Okay,
this is real.
it's adorable.
All right,
it's cute.
Now we're back. Market movers.
The market's not really moving. No, not really. I mean, it is fear and hesitation right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. And we've got people freaking out about interest rates. We got people freaking out trying to time that, right? Oh, they hit, let's go. Well,
By the time you move.
yeah, it doesn't work like that. We've got people that are, it is getting worse and worse and worse, which it always does. Oh, if this person wins, oh my gosh, I'm moving to Canada or whatever, which, by the way, nobody ever moves to Canada, even though we want you to.
Yeah.
Bless your heart. But, it's just, I mean, that's it. That's the name of the game right now is fear and hesitation. And listen, y'all, it's all going to be okay. It doesn't matter which one wins because guess what? They both suck.
Yeah.
Did I say that out loud?
You said it. Can you say it louder for the people in the back?
Yeah, they both suck.
Yeah. Really bad.
The market there's not a lot of reports that are coming out right now, so I think it's really going to be more. I mean, probably for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks. The market mover is the election.
And here's the deal, man. At this point, I saw one thing where it said both of the 2 main candidates are 48 and 48 when they poll.
Yeah.
Right. And so it is. We are literally gridlocked.
Yeah.
And that goes all the way through Congress and all the way. So guess what? Whoever wins, nothing is going to happen because we're gridlocked.
Yeah. It's
There's no middle anymore. The middle's gone.
No, there's a huge middle, but nobody's speaking to it.
Yes.
There's
no middle there.
Yeah, there's no support for the middle. There's no
Vocal support.
There's no reaching across the aisle. There's no compromise here. There's
because then they get called names.
Well, then
you're a rhino or you're a
their base,
whatever.
Their base bells on them, and the base is the kind of the far more fringe elements of their parties, and they need
because
their support.
Grabs headlines.
They need the support of the fringe during primary season and while campaigns are getting ramped up. So they can't not. They have to have their support because the middle, we're just all going about our lives, doing our thing. We're not writing checks to politicians. We're not trying to manipulate the market or move people into office. So
and it used to be.
We don't have the checkbooks. The middle ground. I'm not talking about middle class. I'm talking about the middle ground isn't writing the checks that need to be written to get. Because we're all just living our lives
and working,
yeah, and doing our thing.
And it used to be that you would go to your extreme to win your primary, and then everybody would flock to the middle and that's just not happening anymore.
No, you can't afford to go to the middle now because the extreme will just shut you out the next time around.
Yeah, well, listen, I wrote an email on Monday, and I send a Monday email every week. And every now and then it actually talks about real estate, but usually it doesn't. And this time it did not. And it was this exact topic. And my philosophy on things is that the two main parties are two sides of the exact same coin. They actually have more in common with each other than they have differences. Yeah. And the differences that they have, quite honestly, don't ultimately matter.
Well, and the differences they have, they don't want to solve. And you touched on that in the email. They don't want to solve those problems because there's literally careers that are wrapped up in fighting for that problem. And if we saw, it's like cancer research. There's so many critics of cancer research that say, well, man, do they really want to cure cancer? There's a lot of money that goes into the treatment of it. So I don't know, this conspiracy.
But you got to have little wins.
Yeah.
Right. But you don't want to fix it.
Right.
Anyway, it's I'm finding myself more and more of a conspiracy theorist because I'm thinking that they're not really theories.
Well, let's do this. Let's say this. It's something that we don't do a lot of on the show, but let's encourage some engagement. If you think there's something that's a market mover that you'd like for us to talk about next week, leave it in the comments. We'll come back in, we'll watch this, and we'll give you some of our thoughts on things that you guys out there that are watching this might see as potential market movers over the next few weeks.
There you go.
That's great.
Love it. Good idea, man.
Man, way to be great.
All right.
It's also a pretty good segue. Should we introduce the new segment?
I think we just introduced it.
I think we just did. Should we make it formal?
Yeah, call it out.
It's called. You do it.
I forgot what we called it.
Making conversation safe again.
Making conversation safe again. That's right. So we talk all the time about the erosion of the middle, right? And it's just like what we just talked about.
Yeah.
And part of that is the inflammation, the inflammatory attitude towards having civil discourse.
Yeah.
And y'all, our country was built on civil discourse.
Yeah.
I mean, it just was.
Right.
And it was built on collecting ideas across a section of people and then figuring out what floats.
Well, and it's been tested and it's been tried, and we had a civil war, and we've had civil rights movements, and we've had some serious conflicts in the past. And so I think what we got to do is learn from those, and that's why we teach history. That's why we study history. We don't want the mistakes of the past. That's right. And not just looking inside our own country, but looking outside of other countries, and how do you end up in authoritarian governments, and how do you end up in systems where it's like a democracy, but is it really?
Right.
And I don't think that it would be far-fetched to think, that could happen with either political party right now. That's, like you said, they're both two sides of the same coin.
They are.
So anyway, I think what we're going to name is making conversation safe again. It's a huge theme of this new segment that we're going to have, but it's really, let's talk about it. I think that's what we said the name was going to be, Trent. Let's talk about it. And so sometimes it might be local issues, sometimes it might be national.
And we might bring somebody in.
And talk about something. There's something,
and we might agree.
Something that's really awesome that's going on in the community. That might be something that we bring somebody in to talk about. So
Bryan and I think similarly to each other a lot of times, but not always.
Yeah.
And we certainly have different life experiences and perspectives, and that's how we have to grow. And I think it's important. One of the things that if you think about it, if you want to throw this as a conspiracy theory, fine, whatever. And that is that the easiest way to keep people from moving forward as a people is to make certain topics taboo and make it so that we don't talk about it, right? How many times have you said, just as an example, oh, well, the best way to ruin a friendship is to talk politics or religion? Well, why?
Yeah.
I mean, like, those are big deals,
Right.
right? Why should I not be able to talk to my friend about politics or religion?
And you should absolutely. Those conversations need to happen. There's times and places, and so
Sure.
like the Thanksgiving table, when you know that you got some uncles over here who are hardcore Democrats, and you got your side of the family over here that's hardcore Republican, they don't have that conversation at the Thanksgiving table. But it doesn't mean that you can't come together and enjoy each other's company. That's part of the process.
And I would even take that a step further though and say we can have that conversation.
You don't want to have it in that setting.
But if
you don't want
everybody-
to, but that's the time to talk about your family and your love for
Okay.
each other.
10-4.
And you know how they feel. They know how you feel. There's
And
no
then we
reason
grab a whiskey and we go sit in the other room afterwards.
if
and-
you want to.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
My point is, if everybody would be respectful in that conversation,
Yeah.
I don't have to change your mind.
Right.
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 But you do have something that I can learn.
But I can't look at you and think that you're dumb or that you're ignorant or that you're.
I'm going to unfriend you now.
Yeah, we got to get past that.
Exactly. And it's getting worse and worse
Yeah.
and worse.
Yeah.
So we're going to try it. We're going to try make conversation safe again.
And
Let's talk about
it. It's still up in the air.
It'll be one of those, or maybe it'll be all of that.
It's
I don't
going to
know.
be all of it.
And
I think that's kind of like the subheading. The segment's "Let's talk about it," making conversation safe again.
Let's go. That's perfect.
We're going to get that on a hat. I'm going to wear me a
Dude, we could go
Maxa.
viral with that.
Maxa.
mix.
All right, let's talk
I'm
about
going to make it
some
look
shiny
like
pennies.
like McDonald's. It'll be great.
Mix.
Mix.
Shiny pennies.
I think you do.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Shiny Penny, big congrats to my colleague Jen Otto. She won the Ruthie for favorite mortgage lender.
Oh, good
I don't know if I
job.
was second or third, but I was in the top three. And then my company, Primis, our whole team, and I'm super proud of this, we won favorite mortgage company.
Nice, man.
Boom.
Congrats.
You're my favorite. So
And
you're
I
my
think
favorite.
that speaks to the quality of our.
Although Jen, I wouldn't have voted for you because this is my guy.
Wow.
And it's not you.
It's not you.
It's not you. It's him.
It's me. But no,
But she is great, by the way.
the favorite company thing, I think that speaks back to our entire sales team for giving our clients solid advice,
Yes.
being responsive, being
Yeah.
available, having good solutions.
Putting them ahead of you. That's
and-
my favorite thing about you.
Yes, but then that goes back to our operations and our support staff too, our processors, our assistants,
Yes.
our marketing team, everybody that works so hard. And we have this thing of, and it's a cultural thing. It's customer obsession. So we are very.
I got accused of being obsessed once.
Oh boy, we are very in tune with the fact that and that starts at the top of our leadership structure, and it's all about making sure that our customers.
When I've met
Have a
the
great
owner of your,
experience.
I mean, I agree with
Yeah.
you, and they're awesome.
It starts all the way at John Owens, the CEO of our mortgage division. And,
Love it.
And love his leadership style. It's one of the things that attracted me to this team. So
I love it. Good job,
It's a
everybody
shiny
over
penny.
there. My shiny penny is that we just started this new segment.
Love it.
I brought it in. I said, "Hey, I want to do this, and y'all tell me if it's a bad idea." And then we just did it anyway.
we just did it.
It might be a bad idea.
I don't think it was a bad. No, I think it's. We talked about some things, and like we said, okay, we took your idea, and we were like, all right, well, how do we like take that idea and make it even better? And I think that's what we're going to do.
I'm excited.
I'm
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Jonathan, that's like one of your favorite things in the world. I'm
What's
pretty
that?
sure. Those conversations.
Oh, I love it.
yeah, it's like you live for that.
I do because I truly
believe in it, yeah.
value
Yeah.
your opinion and 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 your opinion.
Yeah.
And I believe in the core of my soul that everybody has a story that I can learn from.
That's real.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
has a story that I can learn from.
Yeah.
And if we're scared or it's taboo to have those conversations, then I don't get to learn.
Yeah.
So it's selfish, right? Like,
You selfish son of a
I
gun.
know I'm so selfish, but at the same time, man, we are losing as a culture. We are losing ourselves, and we are losing our identity as Americans. I really think it's that big of a deal if we don't allow ourselves to have these kind of conversations.
Yeah. There we go.
That's a bar. That's a pro tip as well. Should we go?
That
to
is a
pro
pro
tips?
tip.
All right.
Pro tip is have a good conversation today.
I'll skip the button.
You skip the button.
I'll
Okay.
skip the button. Pro tip.
Pro tip. I've got a transaction going right now where it just, to me, it reinforces the strength that comes from having a team working for you. In this particular case, the real estate agent understands what is most important to the clients. And it's a little bit of payment, but it's also big time cash to close and hanging on to some liquidity. They're coming into a little bit of a nest egg, but they're being wise about not eroding it. And so they want to just keep as much of that liquid as possible. And for their family and their situation, what they were able to negotiate out of this seller was way more closing costs than would have been allowed with a conventional loan program. So, in fact, it was enough. One of the big downsides to, in my opinion, for an FHA loan, when somebody's looking to make a low down payment, is the upfront PMI. But if you have enough seller credits to cover all the closing costs and you still have money left over, you can upfront, instead of financing the upfront premium, you put it on the CD as paid at closing instead of financed at closing. And then in this case, the seller's paying enough to cover all of that.
And the agent knew all of this and was able to.
Right.
Okay.
Because we were thinking it was going to be conventional. And then when I saw what she was asking for on the offer, I was like, whoa, we can't do conventional, and ask the seller paid 6% towards closing costs. So we put on there that we were going to do FHA. And that's how we ended up in the loan program that we're in. So they're getting that great interest rate from FHA with as little money down as possible, at 3.5% instead of 5%. And sellers covering all the closing costs and taking that upfront mortgage insurance off of their loan balance.
Shout out to the agent.
Yeah, Karen Flugie.
I knew that's who you were going to say. Yeah. So me and Karen go back and forth for this guy's attention, but no. Yeah, Karen's awesome, and if I ever get beat by her, I'll feel okay about that because she's great.
Yeah.
No, there's some other agents. If I get beat by, I'm gonna be mad, but
just
not
a little,
her.
yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah, we've got some great folks in the community, and I learn stuff from all of them. So it's awesome.
Yep, she's a good one. All right. What else we got?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's the show. You got to go. So.
I do have to go. We got all kinds of fun stuff happening around. Your guy, Bryan, oh my goodness, I just went totally blank. Another Primis guy.
Johnson.
Bryan Johnson is sponsoring a haunted house over here at Festival.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And it's a fundraiser. I forgot what it's for.
I can't remember either.
But Cedar Glade is going to be there selling beer.
Yeah.
And we're excited about that. That's October 26th. What else we got? We got our beer cheese competition coming up in November at
9th.
Cedar Glade.
Yep.
And
Fourth Friday. Fourth Friday.
What's that?
October 20th is Love Your Neighbor.
October 20th. Yeah, Love Your Neighbor over on the Civic Plaza, right? Which is, man, you want to talk about an opportunity to have some great conversations and have some great food and see some dancing and all kinds of stuff. It's going to be awesome. 2 to 6, right?
2 to sunset.
Yeah, 2 to
cool.
6. So
Dancers, cloggers.
it's going to be great. And what else? The Halloween Recycled. November 1st, here at Cedar Glade, we will have our Halloween party. Bill Stieber, if you have not driven by his house yet, you should. He's got aliens landing. It's so cool. Yep, he's so cool. I just love that guy. I want to be him when I grow up, and or don't grow up, whatever. And so he'll be here playing, and we are bringing your old Halloween costumes and gently used makeup and things like that. And we'll restock Murfreesboro Little Theater. That's right.
One more. Fourth Friday. Next Friday. We need to push that. I need
Next
to start
Friday.
posting more.
We got
second.
fun working, not networking.
Yep.
Time out. Next Friday is the fourth Friday, and that means it's going to be November.
Yeah.
That's wild.
This year
has flown.
it was a blink.
I literally said the other day, I'm like,
right.
October's next month.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's not
It's
next
this-
month.
it's
yeah.
this month.
We're in it. Yeah,
We're in
we're
the
halfway
thick of
through it.
I was like, October's
I think this is
next
part of
month.
getting old, y'all.
Bro, that's
Yeah,
wild.
it is.
Yeah.
Don't blame.
I was gonna say there's a song about that, isn't there?
So hey, don't forget to leave in the comments if there's any
Market movers.
headlines or market movers that you want us to touch on,
Or
Yeah.
conversations.
or conversations.
Whatever.
Talk about it.
Give us your feedback.
It's gonna
We're
be
here
great.
for it.
Hey, shout out to Brass Horn, powered by Brass
Hey,
Horn.
I was looking through I think it was Facebook memories. They've got like a 5th anniversary coming up, or they've recently
Really?
had it. Yeah. Yeah.
Congrats,
and
Jeremy.
Alley on Main, 10 years
Yeah,
coming
10
up.
coming up.
So love seeing stuff like that.
Yep.
Those kinds of stories.
Yep. Hey, if you treat people right and you are relatively like smart, you have a. I'm not gonna say you're gonna necessarily always succeed, but just those two things.
Yeah.
Getting plugged in the community.
Plugs.
So big.
Treat people right. That's it.
Man.
All right.
Good
Love
show.
y'all.
Good
Have a
show,
good
y'all.
rest of the week. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Oh, I'm so snotty.
Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Primis Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Primis Bank, a member FDIC. Primis Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, BK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.